This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Hello, my name is Harriton Watco. Welcome to our program. Last week we saw a lot of activity, especially in the House of Congress. But aside from that, since you've been reading in the newspapers, broadsheets, and the news in many other stations, you can see, well, it's once in a lifetime, I guess, with issues that occur. Current event that has been going on. Now, every first Monday of the month, here in this show, we feature the Citizens National Guard, the CNG. And we had the first National Congress last Saturday. With us, we have the SecGen, we have Butch Valdez, who's with us, to tell us all about the successes of the first National Congress. Hi, Butch. Straight to the point yung intro ko, wala nang masyadong commentary.
Yes.
Let's go straight to the Citizens National Guard. Now, that being the first National Congress, I remember 3-4 weeks ago you were telling me the expectation of how many people. Parang more than double nag-attend, no?
Yes, we were expecting only about 500.
I remember, yes.
Yeah, and that was, I think, a pretty sizable number that
Yes.
we were expecting for this one. And we had two, because we had two guests. One keynote speaker, which was Dr. Persida Rueda Acosta of the PAO, Public Attorney's Office. And our guest speaker, a special guest speaker, was Secretary Delphine Lorenzana, the Secretary of National Defense. So, but we were pleasantly surprised in a way, although logistically problematic, when we were prepared for 500 or 600, and yet more than 1,000 arrived.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, walang hakot dito eh. No?
Oh,
We just invited them through our radio show and through your show.
Yes,
no?
yes.
We invited people to come and register, and if they want to become members, they apply, right? And of course, most of them, practically all of them, applied for membership with the Citizen National Guard.
What do you attribute the success of the first National Congress? Why the sudden surge of people wanting to be members? I mean, you're not exactly in major broadcast.
Yes,
or,
yes.
You don't advertise.
We were of the belief that based on the three main objectives that we had kept on repeating on the air and to people and through our own invitations. We reiterate our three main objectives. At first, it sounds like motherhood statements, but apparently, because we have been insisting on this, people started to internalize what, number one, defending the sovereignty of and integrity of the Republic of the Philippines.
Which is to be patriotic anyway.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Patriotism. The other one is the protection of the population from the enemies of the state.
Which is again patriotism.
Yes, because the enemies of the state. Well, of course, we enumerate them.
Yeah.
General five general categories, and then the third one, and in that order of priority, is to support the duly elected president. Without even naming him. No, we just said supporting the duly elected president. That by itself, I said, was because And also, we needed to explain, despite the fact that we might lose applicants for membership. We said this is not a government-sponsored affair or an organization. This is not a Duterte organization.
No. It's private.
Just comes
Yes.
from citizens like us. So Citizen National Guard, committed to these ideals, but insisting that even to the point of sacrificing our lives for it. Because we consider that every citizen who calls himself a citizen of this republic must be ready to sacrifice his own life for the integrity of the sovereign republic and the protection of the population.
Do you require members to be body politics, all of them? Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. They can come from
All sorts.
all sorts. What is unique about the Citizen National Guard is that among those that got inspired, I suppose, by the different objectives, was a healthy number from the retired military corps, military organization.
Why is that?
Mainly because they identify with it, I understand. Because you see, a soldier, when he takes his oath as a soldier,
Pledges to the state.
pledges not just to die.
To die for the state.
For the state,
Yes.
for the country.
For the
no?
country.
And lay down his life for the country. And often when I used to talk to them, I said, what happens when you retire? Tapos na yung oath ninyo. You don't have. And then he said, no, hindi po. Because when we take that oath, we continue with that oath until the day we die. That means to lay down our life for the country. I said, why is that? Because we're still citizens.
Yeah, they will always
dawned
remain
on me.
citizens, yes.
It dawned on me that should be the idea of all citizens, the ones who call themselves citizens of this republic, especially with a country like ours that is battered by foreign interests, foreign intelligence agencies, and so on and so forth.
But foreign interests per se, as long as they are managed properly, it is good that there are interests.
Yeah, of course.
Diba?
We're
Without
not,
that, there will be no activity, no commerce.
Yeah, I don't refer to being isolationist. No, we're not that. No. But there are what you call foreign intelligence agencies that want to
Meddle.
impose. Yeah.
That meddle.
Impose,
Yeah.
in this geopolitical world, they call it, no? Wherein somebody has to rule over others. No? Wherein the superpowers, it's a game of getting more people on your side versus another on another side. This is this game of geopolitics. No?
Yes.
Which I am happy to note that with the entry of President Trump and President Xi Jinping and President Putin and some other
You
very
mentioned all the
capable
strong
leaders.
men
Yes,
in the world.
But with their entry into this whole global situation, they are of different
Breeds, actually.
and thinking. And for once, you don't have people wanting to go into this geopolitical game. On the reverse, however, is in their thinking. Like it's more like common good. Like let us go into a win-win-win situation wherein it's not I win because I put you down. No, I win because you're also winning, right? I'm developing because you too are developing. That is the mindset, it seems, that's coming out from the moves that are being made by President Trump and Putin and Xi Jinping. I might be digressing a bit. But
No. But staying on that train of thought, there are critics who really lambast that and generate fake news against it. As much as Trump, for example, the way he's shaken the world order,
Yes.
the economic world order,
Yes.
is now being praised by economists all around the world, and they can't figure out because that's not been the traditional way of doing things. But he has made it more equitable for America per se.
Right.
And likewise, like the way he's handled the European Union as of late. I mean, he was able to turn things around. Xi Jinping, although he's also being pilloried very heavily, especially in the Philippines, because of the 9-dash line, di ba?
Yeah.
And their expansionism.
Yeah. Well, what is happening is certain interests, certain people, and I'm talking about foreign intelligence agencies there because they're leading the whole effort. No? Is moving the mindset of people into issues that are much less in importance, no, than the international and global issue. What is the most important thing that we have to face as human beings now is the achievement of world peace, no? And to veer away from self-destruction.
Yeah,
right?
instead of, correct.
Now,
which is what's being achieved.
We seem to be moving
Yes,
towards that.
yes,
No?
yeah.
But we're not yet out of it, but
No.
we're moving towards that because of this effort of these world leaders. On the other hand, you've got people still trying to push issues that will
To
create
ignite.
conflict between
To ignite,
countries.
yeah, to ignite.
Right?
It seems like that.
And they don't like peace efforts. You've got CNN and this other kind of, they doubt the move of Kim Jong Un when they shake hands with this, and they said, that's just a shake.
Mas lalo na kay Putin, tsaka kay Trump,
kay Putin, tsaka
last
Trump.
week.
Lahat, they try to destroy this. No?
Same thing here with Xi Jinping and Duterte.
Exactly. Exactly.
Iba-iba basa nila.
Yeah. So that's why what is important, I think, is we have to get out of this, what we have been so, has been pounded on us all of our lives, this geopolitical environment that we have to side with some superpower versus another. Right? And
Rather than work together,
look
yes.
at it as a whole for humankind, what is best for humankind. And we should be celebrating and supporting whatever efforts are now being made by Trump, Putin, and Xi Jinping. And President Abe, for that matter, and even the Korean president and Kim Jong-un, because they're now getting together.
Pero paano naman sinasabi ni Supreme Court Justice si Carpio na kailangan balik natin sa Amerika? What do we do with people like him? Di ba yung, imagine, he is a Supreme Court Justice, and he's the most senior, and he keeps babbling out about, let's go to war, so to speak. And some congressmen, and di ba, may tama, ano?
Well, hindi sa akin hindi sa may tama may control.
Ayun. So may interest that play behind him, which is why the way he is. Baka nababayaran ng mga Amerikano yan.
Well, that's...
Para guluhin.
Bahala na tayo mag-interpret dito sa mga ganito. Pero, you see, even a friend of ours, I won't mention his name, that I was hearing your show at one time, and we were discussing the South China Sea. During the break, I asked him, do you really believe in what you're saying about this China Sea thing? And he told me, not on air, but he's gone now, so I can say it. Not on air, but he told me that nowadays you're just gonna have to side with whoever you think is gonna winner.
Yeah.
The winner.
I remember.
And it's so sad. I said, but how can you say that when the loser is 100 million people, the Filipino people?
Yeah, tayo.
Regardless of who we side, China or the United States, ang loser dito, Filipino people.
Oh, tayong collateral damage.
Exactly. I said, how can you say that? No? And he
I
just...
remember.
Now, remember that...
Yes,
that,
I know
that
who you're referring to.
So, it's sad that certain people think that way. They either think that way because they believe in it, or think that way because they're influenced by some other power.
Which is Carpio. Going back to the Citizens National Guard, what is the next step then? Now that we've had the success of the first National Congress, what next?
Well, the Citizen National Guard, as a move...
Is it a political party? Can it be a political party? Can it be influenced to be one?
Let me go to that because you're
Step by step, Janet. Go ahead.
a few steps ahead of me. But First of all, as a movement, we will continue with the movement, right? Because people are still applying to be part of it. Now, as a movement, what do you do? Of course, as a movement, you bring out all the things that you would want in government. All the things that you
But you've clarified that in the manifesto. You've already done the work for that.
and not enough, meaning to say you have to go into detail in reference to that objective. When you say sovereignty of and integrity of the republic, you're actually talking about attacks on your sovereignty. And your sovereignty can be attacked from without and from within.
The communists from within.
Okay, not just communists, sometimes even people right inside government. Sometimes people right inside, very close to the president.
Yeah.
Okay, and there are. And
Are we talking about the economic managers?
Well,
so it seems.
Well, there are people that are
Yes.
not looking into the idea of sovereignty, right? The other one, and we have to, every time these
Identify
ideas,
them.
and every time these so-called proposed policies or policies that are coming from those that are actually, in a way, destructive of government, destructive, we have to attack them, and we have to go against them, and it can be connected to the integrity of the republic. Another one.
That's been identified, right? These
Well,
people, or it's still in the process.
Well, you can identify them in certain things, but you can also, there are people also behind, and we don't know what else is going to come up, all right? The other one is the protection of the population. When you say from the enemies of the state, when you inventory the enemies of the state, it becomes very clear against the drug syndicates, against crime, and so on and so forth, against those that are planning to overthrow him
government,
or even kill him, kill the president. We have to step up and say we're going to reject you guys, or if you ever do something like that, we will retaliate one way or the other. And we have to do that because in protection of the population. When you say population, you're not talking about the population.
Can I take that as a threat against these people who are plotting against the president and the sovereignty, that CNG is prepared, and will go after you to stop you at whatever means?
Well, we'll have to defend.
So it is a formal threat to these people who are trying to do this.
It means we're also prepared.
Yes, that's
right?
what it means.
Let me expand what population means. Population means your family.
Yes.
Because it starts with that. Now,
Correct.
You protect it from terrorism. You protect it from drug infiltration. You protect it from all kinds of ideologies that are destructive and so on and so forth. Right. So the family has to be protected. If you go to the extent of defending your family with your life,
of course,
and each one of us does that. Each one of us, then we're protecting the population
as a whole,
and the country as a whole.
The people.
This is what we mean. No? This is what we mean, and we go all the way down to the family. The family has been forgotten. The family has been forgotten by everybody practically. When you're talking, no one talks about family, and yet there's so many things, including the economic policy of exporting people that is destructive
to the family.
Right? And that's what I mean by saying you have to go against, because it destroys the basic unit of our society, which is the family.
Butch, we're going to have to take a short break. Ladies and gentlemen, stay with us. When we come back, we will go even more into current events that have taken place over the week and how CNG adapts to all these movements, mainly the federalism, 2, the new Speaker of the House, 3, the unexpected rise of the inflation that has caught up with us, and what other the downtrend of foreign direct investments and or pledges. Stay with us. We'll be right back.